It's me, First Mate Jeff, and tonight I am not the captain of the ship, believe it or not. Tonight's show is brought to you by our wonderful sponsor at Riot Stickers, and waiting in the digital green room is Sharpie Riot, CEO of Riot Stickers himself. Just so you know, we have a special promotion with Riot Stickers where you can get 1,000 stickers for $79. Incredible deal. The link will be down in the description. It's not there quite yet, but it will be. And yeah, man, there's no better way to start your day with a Riot sticker than with Riot Stickers. You can get 3-inch by 3-inch stickers, vinyl stickers with a UV coating that protects them from the sun. Anything you want at all. Even Glenn Danzig's face, although you might want to ask Uncle Glenn's permission before you print his visage elsewhere. Tonight's show is special. Oh crap! Is it not going to let me do it? Tonight's show is special because we're going to do a special call-in show. Yeah, that's right. It's going to be a special call-in show, and I'm going to bring out Sharpie, and he's going to tell you more about this whole situation. But before we do that, you must know that we have a very special message, and then we can get started with the show.
Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com.
Was it just me? Did you guys not hear the? Am I crazy? Oh, maybe no. Why did I not hear the thing? Is it because my sound? Oh, that might explain it. All right, let's try that again.
Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com. We are the bomb. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com. We are the bomb. We are the bomb. We are the bomb. We are the bomb.
Oh, hello. There he is. CEO,
Yeah.
Sharpie Riot, captain of our ship tonight.
Yeah, that's right.
Yar.
So what do you do like for Halloween? Like on Halloween? Like what happens at Frumess house on Halloween?
Casa de Frumess, actually Castle von Frumpkin, as we call it. What happens? Well, we decorate the front yard, of course, and I have all sorts of little solar lights that shine. And I also have these big LED like stick lights. I don't know what you call them. They sit on the ground and they have like one of these little remotes, and you could change the color to anything that you want. You can make them all sorts of colors, blue or purple or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so from the windows, it glows in whatever color I'm feeling. And then we have some ghosts that project onto the house. And then we have some, decorations. We got a new Venus flytrap. We got a new Venus flytrap plant that sits in the front. It says feed with a little feed me signs. That's nice. And as you can see, this prop from Romeo's Distress, this giant tombstone that I built for the cemetery set at the end, actually goes out every year on the front yard on Halloween. It was just sitting in my parents' garage, and I was like, I got to do something with this thing. Why do I just let this thing sit here? And, yeah. And so we put that out. I have a spooky sign. It says happy Halloween. Take some treats and leave the rest for some other ghouls. And I made that sign just like happenstance, and here it is. Like, I think it's on its 4th year. It just sits there, and it just never expected it to go on. And yeah.
So do you go out with your kids then? And
Yeah.
Knock on doors?
Yeah. I go around the neighborhood. The neighbors, we do like a little pizza party first. Then we go around, and then what I do is I have the kids dump out all their candy onto the floor, and they think it's a good time. They're like, yay, Dad's so cool letting us dump out our candy. But then what I do is I actually, when they're not looking or when they're too busy counting their candy, I will secretly take pieces of candy that I really like and I fill my pockets. I go for broke because, we still have a whole pillowcase full of uneaten Halloween candy from last year. They don't eat all the candy. So I make sure to I take my pound of flesh, if you will. And
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So what about you?
Did you ever do?
Sorry, no,
It's
what were you gonna say?
different. It's way different. I was going to ask you if you ever did like the trunk or treat, because I was just talking to someone about that the other day, and I was like, as much as I hate the trunk or treat idea, to where like kids aren't going to all these houses and they're just walking from car to car in a parking lot. If you think about it, like when the person that first had that idea was so smart
Absolutely.
to be like, hey, like it's such a cool idea, but I also hate it. You know what I mean?
I think that I think that it has its time and place. Like, it's not a substitute for trick or treating on Halloween, but for like a lead up, like usually they do them like the week before Halloween or something. That is so appropriate to take the kids to something like that. But when you have like in place of actual Halloween, no way. No friggin' way. Just doesn't work.
I was thinking, or places where like people are really out there far and like it's like a quarter of a mile between houses. That'd be a really good place for it.
But I still feel like you need to to actually, I don't know, go out and do it. Go door to door. And it used to be when we were younger, there were shaving cream battles and eggs and all sorts of stuff, and that stuff was kind of gone by the wayside. It's not the same anymore. So
yeah, I would go get candy when I was little, but we mostly were more about like writing on the side of houses with soap and pegging their front door with corn. We were bad,
What? Well, what do you mean pegging the front door with corn? What does that mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. So you go like like field corn, like corn for the cows and stuff, like the hard kind of corn.
The hard what? So you mean the corn that's fodder? Corn. Yeah, that's fodder for the actual.
Yeah, like the food for cows and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, it's not meant for human consumption. Yeah.
Yeah, you get that and you like
just whip it,
get it off the thing, and you fill a pillowcase, and then you go out and you go to a house and like you get a bunch of people, and then you're like 1, 2, 3, and you all run up and like throw a big handful at the house, and then you like hide in the ditch out near the edge, and the person comes out and yells, but they don't see you, and then when they go back in, you do it again.
It's poop.
Yeah, kind of like that.
It's poop again.
So we did a lot of that. But yeah, Halloween's a lot different for me. Obviously, for years, it was a super busy time of year to, have the band out there, and we'd have really awesome shows. And, now that I don't do that, it's a lot more laid back. I usually stay home and I have some candy ready, and we don't get a lot of kids that come, but, a few here and there. So we just kind of hang out and take it easy. I always try to watch Halloween 1 and 2.
Oh, okay. Got a little,
because to me Halloween 1 and 2 is just one movie. It
is.
It's meant to be watched together.
The night isn't over.
Yeah, back when like a sequel had like a good reason to do it, to like continue on like the minute that the other one left off, and and they're both so different. Like, the first one's like a mystery type thing and scary, and then the second one's more like keeps you on the edge of your seat, with the chase.
Yeah, the tone is slightly different, the premise is slightly different. I personally, I'm always of the mind, I guess for the sake of conversation, I'll include Halloween 2 as a continuation of the story. But for me, I've always felt that Michael Myers story after part 2 just is unnecessary, doesn't matter, doesn't make any sense. It's just it works as a really great like one-off of like, what if the boogeyman was real, with no rhyme or reason. he's like the first slasher, right? Like besides although I don't think people count Leatherface as the slasher. They do now, but at the time, like Michael was really the first slasher. And like that whole idea of literally calling him the Shape, like that he's not even Michael Myers, he's just he's evil incarnate, and and then it just gets silly, and somehow we ended up with 9 Michael Myers movies, and I will never understand that ever. So
yeah, I mean, it's what happens, but that's why I was saying like that. The second one of that kind of like really made good sense to do, and I just kind of see it as like one long movie. So, I always try to watch them together. I always try to watch 1 and 2 like back to back as in one sitting.
This guy who I actually don't like, I think he's kind of an asshole for what he does, but I guess there's a market in it. Like for you particularly, he like cut together 1 and 2 as a single movie and like put in all the deleted footage. And I feel like that's something that you would actually really enjoy because you could just sit and watch it as one movie. James Gruesome is here. Hi, James. And Aaron is here. Hi,
James.
Aaron.
James is my texting buddy.
Oh, James.
We text almost every day.
Do you really?
Yeah.
How
we're like
that?
We're like a couple on texting.
You have I'm trying to think how you would say that.
We have a true texting relationship.
I know, but combine the word text with relationship. Text relationship. I don't know. Whatever.
There you go.
You know what I'm trying to say. So actually, no, it's good that James is here tonight. Because he might remember one of my stories. He'll remember one of my stories. Yeah, for sure. I don't know if he tunes in.
Before we go, do you have a bubbly today? Do you?
No, I don't have any bubbly. I'm actually drinking a sparkling yogurt drink from H Mart, which is like a Japanese supermarket. I wish I had a bubbly. I think I might have some seltzer. I might in the middle of this. Oh, what flavor is that? Is that pineapple?
Oh man, mango.
How about
I was hoping you'd have mango because I don't know if you remember, but I think 3 shows we had the same bubblies.
We did. It was I believe it was cherry. Maybe I have had the mango. I probably have. I just don't remember.
I have that one, and then I have this as a backup. This is a weird one.
I've had that one. Yes, that's the snow cone.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, that was a limited edition. It's very possible that that's over a year old, so the flavor might not be as intense. Just warning you. But that's a good one. I love that one. James says it's called the Sandman Cut. Halloween 1 and 2.
Okay.
All the TV footage and extra shit. Brotherly
text. Of course
text.
he knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, brotherly text. There you go.
I like that. That's nice. That's sweet.
So we're going to tell scary stories today.
Yes. This was Sharpie's idea. And Sharpie, I got to tell you, Sharpie, I always try my best to support Sharpie's ideas because he actually has really great ideas. And every time we've done one of his ideas, like it's always a show that's well received, that people enjoy, people watch it. It's like always like a good time. And so I really am glad that we could do that. And I'm going to let Sharpie's going to actually take the wheel here. And I'll just sort of I'm here and I don't know how to shut the fuck up. So I'll probably talk anyway, but I'll let Sharpie take. No, the wheel.
I want us to tell some scary stories, but things that really happen. So, maybe we'll each have some that are pretty Halloween scary like, but but we can talk about them,
Yeah.
So
here's the thing. If you want to call in and tell a scary story, that's fine, but we're going to truncate you. You have to be with the quickness. You get in, you tell your story, and then you get out. That's the way it works. Okay. So
how do they get in?
Well, I put the link out in the chat. I put the link out. It's somewhere in the live chat. You know what? I'll put it in the description as well. And you can call into the show. And if you feel like sharing with us, but like I said, treat it like, be like, what's it called? Be like the cool kid at the party, come late, tell your story and leave early. That's how the cool kids work. Okay. And that way we can keep it all moving and grooving. And yeah, so I just put the link in the description if anybody is feeling froggy. Sometimes people are really shy, but every once in a while we get some people. I'm going to put it on the Lodi page too, because why the freak not? I'm writing it right now. Hold on. Telling scary true stories. Call in. Okay. Do you want to start us off with a scary story?
So Jeff, listen to this. This is all about the Halloween 1 and 2. So I was born in 1981. So Halloween was already out when I was born.
Right.
And my dad was a big Halloween movie fan. So I don't remember ever not seeing the movie Halloween. The earliest age that I can think back of, like Halloween was part of my life, the movie. So when I was 3 or 4 years old, my family moved. And when we moved, we had to stay in a hotel for 2 nights when we got to the new location till we could move into our house. And I went to bed the one night and I looked up in the hotel room and Michael Myers was at the door. Michael Myers was standing in the doorway to our hotel room. And so I just laid there and I was like, if I keep watching him, maybe he won't come after me, you know? So he just stood there at the door and I kept watching him. And, you know, I was too young to even tell time, but 2 o'clock became 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock became 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock became 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock became 6 o'clock. And the sun started coming up and Michael Myers still didn't come after me. He stayed standing at the door. And when the sun started coming up, I realized that it was a towel that someone had balled up and hooked on a hook on the door. But I thought it was Michael Myers. I didn't sleep the entire night. You don't have sound.
I muted myself so I wouldn't interrupt you.
Okay.
I did that on
I
purpose.
want you to interrupt though.
No, because then I won't shut up. That was awesome. And here's why it was
Isn't that
awesome.
crazy?
No, it was great because you buried the lead. I had no idea where it was going. I was like, this can't really be Michael Myers. So what's the actual, like what actually happened? There's a perfectly logical explanation for what happened. It's like clearly a core childhood memory that really like solidified with you and like made your imagination run wild. I mean, that just really nice. That was really great. Aaron has a quick story. He says, want to hear a scary story? You're on the road 364 days a year, no health care, you know, Christmas, you will be on a plane. That's working for the WWE, LOL.
Ouch.
So I guess Aaron works for WWE, and it sounds like it's a double-bladed sword because, you know, probably not easy to work for the WWE, but to be working for the my son would absolutely freak out over that. He loves WWE right now. So
yeah. I liked it when I was a little kid for sure. I still like kind of keep an eye on it, like from a distance, but those guys were like my superheroes when I was little. So,
I think James Gruesome is a guy, right? Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's who I talked to about it. But yeah, that story is interesting because, you know, like I'm saying, I was either 3 or 4, somewhere in there, 3 or 4. And you don't remember a lot from when you're 3 or 4. And the things you do remember, it's usually because it got like there's photos from it, you know, and then when you were like 7 or 8, 9 or 10, 11 and 12, like over the years, you see those pictures and it kind of keeps that story in there. But clearly, I mean, aside from the movie Halloween, I have no documentation of that night happening, but it obviously like etched an impression because I was like, he's there, you know, he's just standing there at the door. And as long as I keep looking at him, he won't come. and I
I
just stayed
mean,
awake the entire night.
yeah, but it's like that was like little boy logic, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it very much, I mean, that memory stayed with you. It must be one of your oldest memories, right? Like it must be a
Yeah, for
pretty old
sure.
one, right?
Yeah.
And so I actually kind of, that would be a great story. I just did a bunch of interviews for this horror documentary series, and I was answering questions as an interview subject, and they were interviewing filmmakers. That would have been a great story to tell. That would have been that's a good story. So
So do you have any from like
right?
do you have any scary stories from like your earliest years?
Oof. All right. So for starting with earliest years, I mean, I do have one that is I was at sleepaway camp. And I don't know what time it was at night. It might have been early, maybe it was even early in the morning. I don't remember how old I was. Maybe I was like 12 or something. Probably like 11 or 12. And I remember opening my eyes, being in my bed and seeing a figure of a person or something. Like a I don't know, almost like a hunchback, but really tall. And it
Is
was
this like a
going
ghost,
around.
like a ghost type
No
figure,
fucking
or is this
clue.
a full
Let me
blown?
tell you, something. This was not like this. I was absolutely lucidly awake for this. I have no way to explain it. I was probably like 11, 12 years old. I'm in the bunk. I'm on the lower bunk. And I see this thing that is literally creeping around to all the beds. It wasn't a fucking counselor. I could see its shape. I was terrified, and I was waiting for it to come to my bunk. And I'm going to admit this live on the air because I don't give a shit. I fucking peed my pants, dude. I was so fucking terrified.
And what kind of camp is this?
Terrified. It was sleepaway camp, you know. And I was terrified. And I'll tell you, I was so ashamed that I had peed my pants, and I thought my counselor was going to really give it to me.
Yeah.
And he didn't at all. He was so fucking cool about it. He listened to me. He listened to all my like rantings and ravings of like how scared I was. And he just like, his name was Steve Grave. For real. That was his name. And he was, I don't know how old, he was probably like 20. And he was a fisherman and just a great guy. He died. I came back a year later or 2 years later. He had died.
Oh, wow. So he died
really very young, like at 22 or something. He died. And but he was a very positive male role model in my life, who I talk about him from time to time. My kids, especially, like he used to wear his shirt in the back. He used to take off his shirt when he'd go fishing, and he would tuck his t-shirt in the back belt of his shorts.
Yeah.
And I used to do that too. And I followed him around like a little puppy dog and stuff. I loved him. I really did. And I'll never forget. I was so ashamed of that. I was so terrified, and I was so ashamed. And I told him what happened. I told him that I peed my pants, and he didn't make me feel bad about it. In fact, he comforted me, and he never got angry about anything. He always had such an even keel and a cool level head. And I try my best to remember that when I deal with my own kids, and to varying degrees of success or lack thereof. But
sure.
He was a great guy. But yeah, I was like that. And then I have some variations of that, but I'll let you I'll pass the buck to you.
So did he cover it up for you then? Like he made sure no one knew? Did he like, because I assume like your sheets got wet, right?
My sheets
did he like get all that out of there?
No, my sheets did get wet. I think, I had like no, something? I feel like, I swear to God, I think that, again, I'm trying to remember everything. I'm pretty sure that I must have been wearing shorts or something, and I'm pretty sure I peed just my shorts, and that I think my blankets, I think everything was kind of like okay.
Yeah.
I must have changed them at some point. It really was not a big deal at all. But the reason why I admitted it to him was because what I had seen was so utterly real, and I was so utterly awake, and I was so utterly terrified because I had no explanation for what this could be. And it was like apparitional, like it was some sort of thing. And I'm trying to remember if it made noise or not, like not breathing, but like maybe footsteps. And I just kept waiting for it to come to my bunk, thinking, and I was like, I just remained, and I waited and waited and waited. It never came. And then it was the next day. And
so you eventually were able to fall asleep?
No, I never fell asleep. But the reason why I'm bringing it up now is that you, your story reminded me of that. Your story reminded me of that story, and that's why I felt the need to share it.
So my story turned, like, eventually the sun came up and I was like, oh, it's a towel, and I was right at the right height to be a head, and it was white, and everything else in the room was dark. So it's the only thing you could see. But so now you're like, fast forward like 30 some years, right? From that time happening, like 30 years. So what do you think now? Like, you saw, like, do you think you really didn't see anything? Like, you have to think something, right?
Something must have been there. I don't know. I could not tell you. But I actually have, I have another experience that happened to me just a few weeks ago. Yeah.
You can't just say something was there. Like, you have to have an opinion now. Do you think it was a ghost? Do you think it was a alien? Do you think an animal came in? Do you think it was one of the kids playing a prank? You have to think something, right?
I think that it must have been my imagination. If I'm thinking about like the Occam's razor, which means like the most likely explanation of something, I would say that the Occam's razor is that I was looking, when you look in the dark and you can kind of like create shapes in the dark. Yes. And I probably created some shapes in the dark of what I was seeing. And I just, I don't know. I like really don't know. I don't have any. I will tell you, I've definitely had other experiences though that make me think that maybe that could have been real.
But you're like I feel like here in the shows before, you're like an anti-ghost guy. I don't believe in ghosts. Is that right?
Okay. Well, actually, I kind of do. I kind of do. I actually kind of do. I am very skeptical of many things, including the supernatural. And part of my problem is that like, I don't believe in heaven and hell, and I worry about, I think from time to time I have these paralyzing fears about like death and the finality of death and losing consciousness. And so I do a lot of reading and studying about how, like through a scientific lens, that these things are real and true, or that there could be something after that. Consciousness is larger than this physical plane. And I really do truly believe that. Do I believe in ghosts? I don't know. I actually heard somebody was giving their take on ghosts the other day, and I was like, fuck, that makes a lot of sense. They said something about it, like ghosts are like the residue. They're like a residue of like psychic residue of consciousness. And I was like, man, that's like something that scientifically, like for me, I need some sort of reasoning. But I also understand that reasoning, like there are things that are beyond reason. There's so much out there that is beyond reason. And case in point, I always scale this down. I've talked about this on several shows in the past when we get really down the rabbit hole. My favorite analogy to go to is really the ant, like the ants, scaling an ant to a human being. Like we think about what we know as human beings versus like what an ant knows. and
Yeah.
maybe like what we don't know that an ant knows. Like it can go to both ways, but the idea that like try explaining the internet to an ant. How about this? You know how like all the TikTok kids, they're saying like 6'7", which I don't even understand what the fuck that means. Try explaining to an ant what 6'7" is. Try explaining to an ant, like, you know, I don't know, just like any sort of like meme, you know, like even what a meme is, like explaining meme humor to ants. Like these are things beyond comprehension. Are we suffice to say that we as human beings, that there are not things that are so beyond our grasp of understanding? I'm not going to sit here and tell you what they are. I'm not going to sit and tell you that there's some, you know, heavenly father sitting on his throne looking down on us. But I will say that the idea that there are beings that are greater than us, who have a deeper understanding, who probably feel indifferently about us as ants ourselves, I think that it's totally possible. I think it would be insane for that not to be possible. So,
yeah,
you know,
but that's a good, I like how you're saying it just depends. Someone has to explain it the way that resonates with you, you know, because there's ones that I hear that I'm like, it's all of it's kind of the same story, but like someone will say it with these certain words and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't do anything for me. But then someone else says kind of the same thing, but with different words. Then you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense, you know? And then it
resonates. James says,
maybe you saw a ghost.
I might have seen a ghost. I'll tell you this, but I have experiences with ghosts all the time, actually. Swear to God.
Oh, nice.
No, like straight up. I do have experiences with ghosts, and I'm happy to explain them here on the channel. But just quickly to touch base on what James is saying, he says, I was 4 or 5 years old, dressed as a ghost, trick-or-treating, and I pissed myself. Didn't want to stop getting candy. Wasn't the last time I pissed my pants either. Hey, every once in a while, look, we all piss our pants, man. It just is what it is, man. You just gotta, when you pee your pants, you just gotta say, hey, I peed my pants.
And you have to say it's a scary story when it happens.
Yeah. So, all right. Do you have another scary?
Yeah. So ghosts and spirits, right?
Let's hear it.
And people say there's not ghosts or there's not spirits, but I have a ghost or spirit story. When I was about 12, I went to a birthday party. It was a sleepover birthday party at my friend Grant's house. And Grant lived kind of out in the woods, and he lived in this area. Behind his house was this big cliff, and then it went down, and there was a creek called Fishing Creek. And when you went to Grant's house, you turned into a little development, and you went up about 6 houses, and then it was just a cul-de-sac, and it turned around and went right back out. Well, the reason it was like that is because Grant's grandfather was a landowner and developer, and he wanted to build a huge development there. And so he started building homes, and then land surveyors had to come in. And it turned out that they said, hey, sir, you can't build past this point because the land beyond this, we found Native American artifacts, and you can't build here because it's land that you can't disturb, right? So that's where Grant lives, though. So it's his birthday party, and there's like 6 or 8 friends there. And we'd go out in the woods behind Grant's house and build forts and play. We'd shoot each other with like a 1-pump BB gun shoot, to where it couldn't break your skin, but it still hurt. So we're out there and we're flipping rocks and logs looking for salamanders. And I flip this rock, and there's like something there, like a big worm type thing. And so I grab it and pull on it, and it's not a worm. It's like a string, like a thick string. And I pull on it, and then the dirt pops out. And at the end of it, there's like a little pouch. And the whole thing's made out of leather. The string's leather. The pouch is leather. And it's all dirty, so I wash it off in the creek. There's little drawings on the pouch. And so I found a Native American pouch out in the woods where they weren't allowed to build because it's native land. And so I put the pouch on and I'm wearing it, and all my friends that are at the party say that's bad luck. You shouldn't have that. That's cursed. And I'm like, no, the pouch is good luck. It's good luck. And so we go back to his house that night. We have a pizza party. We're playing pool down in his basement. And then we all sleep down there, and everyone's like, you have that pouch, it's cursed. And then I opened the pouch, and there was a little bit of residue in there, little chunks of wood or something. And so I get dared to eat some of the contents of the pouch. And I do. I eat some of the pouch, and then we go to sleep. And we wake up the next morning, and we're going to go back out into the woods to play BB gun battle and shoot each other. So we go out in the woods, and I'm running around, and there was, like I said, the back of Grant's house was kind of like a cliff that went down to the creek, but woods, you know. We'd build forts in there. So there was a piece of wood laying on the ground, and it had gotten all slimy from sitting out there, and like moss and stuff growing on it. And I slipped on that board, and there was a big nail sticking out of it. And it went into the side of my leg and tore my leg open. And I looked down, and my leg's just gashed open bad. Looked like the size of a mouth hole. And so I thought, the first thing that came to my mind is this pouch cursed me. So I took the pouch off and I threw it in the woods. And then Grant's mom rushed me to the hospital, and I got 16 stitches in my leg. And then we went out there later and we hunted for the pouch. A few weeks later, we couldn't find it. Pouch was gone. No one ever found it again. So
That
I think I got
was an
cursed.
ouch.
I think I got cursed by a Native American pouch that I wasn't supposed to have.
I mean, it sounds like it was a pouch of ouch is what it sounded like. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy though, dude. Holy crap. You must have been freaked the fuck out with your leg like that. Did it hurt real bad, or was it like kind of like
felt numb a little bit.
yeah.
Like, I remember when I looked down, I thought it would just be nothing.
Yeah.
And I looked, and it was like gaped open, and I never got cut like that before, so I didn't know what to do. So like I tried to just take my hand and like close the thing shut, you know, and started yelling. Yeah.
That's
just for
crazy.
help. But yeah, it didn't hurt.
Still.
But you know, it's one of those weird things that even when that happened, I was just, you know, it was like, it was fun to pretend that it was the pouch, right?
Right.
It was
Totally.
It was a fun story with my friends, but all these years have gone by, and I'm just always like, God damn that pouch. I think maybe, you know, maybe it got me. What do you think? Do you believe that kind of thing?
I mean, it's possible. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't like that. That's like more of like a superstition sort of thing. I don't know, man. I think maybe that it was like there was a synchronicity there, but to me, I don't know. I don't know if that was Native American like spirits or not. I couldn't say. Thank you, James, for the support here. Shiba dog raises and lowers his index finger to get noticed. I don't know what that means, but thank you. Oh, I see. It's part of the thing. It was a description of the thing.
It's the GIF.
Yeah, it's the GIF,
The GIF.
or the GIF. Did you know that the GIF was actually invented at God, what's the name of that? At Dartmouth College. Yeah. That's where the inventor of the GIF went to school.
I probably knew that at one time. I didn't remember that fact, but I do know that you're right on its pronunciation.
Oh, is that the right way?
Yeah, it's supposed the inventor said that it was a GIF, but it never got called that.
So there you go.
Yeah.
GIF or GIF. GIF. I like GIF better.
Mm-hmm.
I think GIF works better. Yeah. So yeah, I do believe in ghosts. Like 150% believe in ghosts. And the reason why I believe in ghosts is because
I want to, but I've just never had it happen to me, you know?
Dude,
so if you don't have anything happen to you, it's so hard.
Well,
So hard to believe that that could be a thing.
I mean, I don't want to believe in ghosts. I just don't have it. I believe in ghosts because they fuck with me. Like, I'm not even fucking joking when I say that. Like, like, straight the fuck up. They are absolutely fucking with me. And you thought it was a cat. James thought it was a cat. It could be a cat. It could be a cat. Could be a dog. Either which way.
So they're ghosts at your house?
Yeah, dude. Sometimes, one time I was sleeping and I heard, I suddenly was awoken because someone was playing drums super fucking loud in my house. I woke up to drums being played super fucking loud. Swear to God, that is not an exaggeration. I wake up and I go, my son's name is Jordan. I go, Jordan! I'm like, I just thought he was playing fucking drums. And then the drum stopped and I went back to sleep. That was the when I first started noticing. But then I started to realize something started to happen to me. My whole body would becomes paralyzed sometimes while I'm like perfectly conscious and awake. And I feel pins and needles, basically like goosebumps, just cover my entire body. And I can't raise my body even when I want to kind of like snap out of it. And I suddenly feel penetrated by a force. And I don't mean that in like a sexual way or something. I mean, like, I feel that there is something that's trying to possess me, or like trying to like, it's trying to like mingle with me. I don't know, for lack of a better word. I can only explain it to you in abstract kind of ways. Like, it's always right when I'm trying to fall asleep, I'm waiting to fall asleep, and suddenly I can feel something shift in the room, and I can feel it's like, I don't know if it's energy, a presence, something. And for me, I'm not one of those guys who's ever looking for that shit. I'm not looking to interact with ghosts. I'm not looking for any of that. I'm just like, oh shit, it's a fucking ghost. And I'm trying to go to sleep. And it's really fucking annoying. And I've even said out loud, like, stop. Like,
Yeah.
leave me alone. Like,
but see, yours really sounds like that. And I don't know if this is real either, but there's like that sleep paralysis. And that's usually what those people say. Like, they wake up and they can't move. And I guess they've done like studies of people in labs that have that problem. And they're like, yeah, you're like sleeping, but like, I don't know all the details of it, but part of your brain kind of wakes up.
So in that state of being is when I feel like I'm in the ghost tractor beam.
Yeah.
And like, that's when, and what I've deducted in my half like sleep, what I've deducted is that there is something that is like connected to me, or feels connected to me, that is trying to get my attention, or trying to interact with me, or trying. This last time it happened, it was actually kind of scary because I felt that the last time I really felt like it was trying to take over my body, like not in like a way of like, not in a malevolent way. It wasn't evil. It was more like it needed a ride somewhere, and it like saw me as like an open car maybe, and it wanted to just jump in real quick. And
yeah.
I remember visualizing in a dream, like it was like I was seeing what had happened to whoever this person or this thing was, and that it got stabbed. And I felt what it was to be penetrated by a blade in my sleep. And it was like to the point where it was so deeply uncomfortable that I wanted to rip myself awake, because the thing is, like, if I could just move my body and like rise, like literally lift my head and my body up, then like, I know I could snap out of this, whatever this situation is. But there, I don't know. There's just like, it's like the witching hour or something happens. And here's the strangest part. About a year and a half ago, I started meditating. I meditate every day for 20 minutes, every single day. I meditate. And
when you wake up,
I do it when I get back from work. I lie down.
Okay.
and I do meditation.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to do it twice a day for 20 minutes. And that's what David Lynch, I read David Lynch's book, and I can't do 20 minutes twice a day. So I just do 20 minutes once a day. And I've been doing that since January of 2024. And I've noticed a few things in my life that have changed. And one of them is I find that I yell a lot less. Like I don't yell as much. I find myself being more calm in a variety of situations. I find myself to be more creative problem solving. However, I think that it's possible, perhaps, that I've also like stepped into a level or opened up certain doors of consciousness that perhaps allow me to interact with things that I couldn't before. And that's my only explanation for why this has really started happening now in my life as opposed to before. And so
So you didn't have it before the meditating?
No, I don't think so. I do not think I ever dealt with anything like that. So I think that is part of that. And again, I couldn't explain it. I'm not one of those guys. And you've heard some of my broadcasts. You know that I am a pretty skeptical guy. I really am.
Yeah. I thought you were not a ghost guy, like I said.
I'm not, but I'm really not. But at the same time, I'm like, ghosts. Like what else can I fucking say but ghosts? So, I'm not out there trying to like proselytize ghosts and being like, yeah, there are ghosts, everybody, and we should go hunt them. But I got to tell you, you open up certain doors of your mind through meditation, and, it opens up your creativity, and you go deeper and deeper. And, I fucking, I don't know. I feel like that, this ghost is trying to fucking, tickle my asshole or something like every once in a while. And it's fucking weird. And it just happens. Yeah. So, yeah.
Very interesting. So that was just this year, and you may have seen it before that, but it was like not regular. Now it's kind of regular.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say it's regular, but it's happened several times, and it's sometimes it's a little harrowing. It's like, it doesn't feel great when it's happening. There are times where, it's almost like a shiver going up your spine. Like, it's literally is like, it's like you feel a change. You feel a change. Something shifts in the room. There's something there that I can't fucking explain. And, I definitely believe in that stuff. I just don't put labels on things. Like, I'm not going to sit here and put a label. It was a poltergeist. It was this, it was that. But in my mind, I'm like, oh, it was probably a fucking ghost. Like, I don't know what else to say about it. I don't know how else.
Yeah, I think you're lucky.
How so?
How so? Yeah, I mean, I think that like I'm saying, it's never happened to me. I don't try, and I would never try. But yeah, I mean, I guess though, you hear the stories about people that kind of like get really messed around with ghost stuff. And if that's real, that doesn't sound fun, but you just kind of have like this extra thing that happens with you, and it's very passive and just a different experience. That seems pretty cool to me. And it might make you like, if you were having that experience and that seems real to you, regardless if it's real or not, you might see other things in your life a different way, which I think the more you know, or the more you think the better off you are,
What I think is, I think that this is all levels of consciousness, really. It's about being able to focus your consciousness in a way where you can sort of be outside of, your physical body, or like your first, like the first level of consciousness of just being like, hey, I'm here on this plane and everything's, I'm me in this, flesh suit. But that, for people that can develop their levels of consciousness in a variety of ways, some people do it with psychedelics, and some people do it with meditation, and some people are just really attuned, and some people are, do lots of therapy. There's just so many different avenues. Some people meditate while they're jogging, and some people meditate while they're painting, and some people meditate while they're playing music. And all of these things focus this energy, this consciousness in a way where I think either you're able to like ascend to something that's beyond this plane, or B, that you are able to commune or cross paths with things, levels, and what's it to say that perhaps it's just another dimension, right? If you really want to get scientific about it, there is nothing supernatural about it. It's just that this consciousness can exist in another dimension, and you're able to sort of like, all dimensions are flattened. Like this room is, has infinite dimensions within it. It's just about, this is the particular frequency that we are vibrating at, and this is our dimension. That that one
always, when people say that always feels the most plausible,
right?
To me,
right?
It's not it's not like this crazy thing. It's like, yeah, I mean, why wouldn't it be that way, right?
And then you also have quantum science, like quantum physics, quantum mechanics. Like there's so much that we don't understand and know, and that a lot of the things that I think people think of like ghost stuff could easily or align with like quantum understanding or quantum. Like, for instance, a great example, this kind of blows my mind. The idea that I keep a video journal, and sometimes when I'm recording a video journal, or even when I'm just writing in my written journal, whatever, I feel certain emotions, and I had a thought one day when I was doing some intense work, like journaling work, because I do a lot of self-reflection, and I do a lot of, take a lot of inventory on my life and whatever. And we lost him. We lost him. The spirit realm came and took him away. He's back. He's back. Dude, how was the spirit realm? Was it crazy?
It was awesome. Yeah.
What I was saying is, did you hear what I said about the journaling and yada, yada, yada?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So this was a new way of thinking that only started this year. And I thought to myself that in a weird kind of way, there's like a quantum aspect of journaling, because you're essentially like recording thoughts and ideas for the future version of yourself to read back and reflect on. And so in a way, you're sort of, it's almost like, it's like all these different versions of you are interacting with one another through this medium, like, because writing can travel through time, right?
Right.
Writing has the ability, like there's the whole metaphor, the Greek metaphor of how like Mercury or Apollo, who was like the god of the messenger god, like is the manifestation, the personification of Apollo or Mercury is actually through the written word. And the written word travels through the centuries. We know what ancient peoples thought because they thought to record their stuff. But that in and of itself is almost like a quantum experience, right? Because they write something at a fixed point in time and nothing about that changes. It's just that time shifts. And suddenly there are people who are now here that can like appraise it from a completely different like perspective than say these ancient people. And so like there's this weird sort of aspect of journaling where you're almost like in quantum entanglement with yourself. And that's strange too, because when I'm feeling feelings, when I'm recording something and I'm feeling feelings, there's a part of me that wonders, is that me actually feeling that in the present? Or is that me feeling what I felt in the past? Or is that me feeling whatever future me is feeling? Meaning that we're all hyper fixed at this one point through this written communication, and therefore feelings can kind of transmute from this version of yourself to this version of yourself instantaneously. And there recently that there are these studies that your gut, like your actual gut, is actually able to predict the future. And that it's possible that on a quantum level, your gut is actually picking up on feelings that you're going to feel in the future. And it's a survival mechanism that allows you to sort of have like a spidey sense.
Yeah. But we definitely think we know what's going on, but it's clear we don't. And that brought you saying that, like, what your gut, everyone says that, like, your gut feeling. And there's so many of these, like, sayings that go back to however long ago that people said. And it's like, why do people say that? Like, we know stuff now that makes it make sense. Like, you can't eat your dessert until you finish your vegetables, or like that type of thing. Like, you need to eat your meal before you eat your dessert. And people have been saying that like forever. And then now, like, they do scientific research and they're like, oh yeah, like if you eat this regular food and then eat the dessert, the glycemic damage that it does to your body is like way better if you eat that other food first. And but like, why did people say that? But there's like there's tons of those that I catch all the time, where it's like some old thing and it's like, why did people say that? They didn't have the scientific knowledge to know. But now so there's tons of stuff like that, and it all goes back to kind of like what you're saying. Like, why were those people saying that 100 years ago when they didn't have the science to back that statement up?
Do you have another
stuff?
Do you have another scary story for us?
Yeah, I have a bunch of them. What have people said? Let's see. A Ouija board. I did one when I was like a little kid with like, the boys and girls first nighttime hangout type thing, but obviously that's not a real thing. But I've never messed with one outside of that. Me
either. I've never done it.
Do you not mess with it because you think it's dumb, or do you not mess with it because you think it's a bad idea?
Like I just said all this like stuff about like what I believe and yada, 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 like ghosts and this, that, and the other. But then like perfect example, Ouija boards, like complete non-factor to me. Like I don't have a single opinion about Ouija boards. I don't believe in them. I don't disbelieve in them. I'm not looking to ever use them, but at the same time, I'm not like opposed to like if a Ouija board was in front of me it's just one of those things. And maybe that's just the way that I'm wired. Like I'm just indifferent. I'm just so indifferent to them. I just, whatever, like it is what it is. I know that's a terrible answer, but
no, that's my answer too.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's no reason even trying, because even if it would be real, you'd still be like, yeah, but someone probably just messed with it,
James, do you believe in them though? He says he doesn't. James says he has 2 60s, 70s Ouijas. I don't mess with them. I just have them. But do you believe in them, James? That's what we want to know. Do you actually believe in the witch boards? Never seen one of those witch board movies. While we wait for James to answer, why don't you tell us another one of your scary stories?
Scary stories. Let's see. I have a lot. Look. Yeah. It's a scary time for me. Let's see. This one's fun. You talked about me going on trips. This one time I was scuba diving at this place called Frying Pan Towers, and went down scuba diving, and there was a guy that brought like a spear gun out to like spear fish to take back home to eat. And he speared this fish, went through the side of the fish, but the fish didn't die. So the fish is like, I don't know if you know how a spear gun works, but it's like an arrow that goes through, but then there's kind of a barb that goes back the other way. So the fish can't pull back out, So this fish is on there and it can't get off, but it's still alive. So it's flopping around. And this like 6-7 foot sand tiger shark comes in, and it's like following the guy because he has this fish that's flopping around. So he was just like, I'm just gonna get the fish off the spear. So he like lets it go, and I'm probably like 12 feet away from where he lets this fish go at. And I have a camera. I have a video of it. It's on my Facebook page somewhere. But this sand tiger shark just turns around, comes to where this fish is just kind of flopping, and it just eats it. And it was the crunching sound of the shark eating this fish was so loud. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And So I got video of it, and then I'm there, and then I kind of like look back behind me both ways, and there's just like tons of sharks behind me. And then so the sharks start coming up, and they'd like swim underneath my body and like brush against me, right? And that's like them kind of like checking stuff out, you know? So I like look around, and again, I was at this place called Frying Pan Tower. So it's kind of like a lighthouse, but it's out in the middle of the ocean. So
were you were you scared? Were you terrified? Like,
it was a weird feeling because one of the reasons I started scuba diving is I was kind of afraid of sharks. So what do you do when you're kind of afraid of sharks? You go become a scuba diver, right? That's like the thing to do. Yeah. So funny enough, the first time I went scuba diving in the real ocean, I saw a shark. And I didn't care. It was fine. But so anyway, these sharks though, they're like starting to like get kind of aggressive. And then I moved back behind the pillars of the tower and just kind of watched them. And then eventually they chilled out. But so the scary story had a good ending. No one got hurt. But man, when the sharks start brushing against your chest, you know.
I mean,
but yeah, stay pretty calm.
Anticipation, right?
Yeah.
Like you're anticipating what could happen. You're not thinking about like, even though you're okay in the moment, you're like it's still like, oh my God, like there's a shark. What's going to happen to me because there's a shark near me, you know?
Yeah. And sharks that are starting like, you know, there wasn't a feeding frenzy because they only got to eat one fish, but you know, they came there ready to eat for sure.
That would freak me out.
Would you get in there?
So I've been snorkeling like once or twice, and I loved it. I really, really, really loved it. If I knew that there were sharks in the water, I mean, it would depend on what kind of shark, like what you were talking about right then and there. That would probably freak me the fuck out. I want to believe that I would stay as calm as possible. I hope that I would be able to. It would probably feel like an out of body experience on some level. And I would just like not know like how or what, or, you know, who to do. But, yeah, like it definitely would give me, you know, cause to think for sure about every, you know, I mean, fish do have ADHD. I mean, goldfish, they have like,
I guess all of them do, right?
Goldfish have like a 2-second memory or something, or they like only remember for 20 seconds, which is so scary to me. I like, you know, I prize my consciousness above all things, right? Like, you know, I like being conscious. And so I don't know, the idea of forgetting things all the time. It's like, if you don't remember, if you don't have a memory, are you even alive?
Yeah.
Like, I know obviously you are. Like, trees are alive, but trees don't remember. Although maybe they do. We just don't understand how they work, you know.
Yeah, we don't know about trees. That's for sure.
We don't know their own language. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, when you think about it from like a mammal perspective of like,
yeah,
we have these brains that can store memories, and like, you know, it's the idea of like, if you can't remember, then are you even really conscious? Like, are you properly conscious? Like, are trees properly conscious? We know they're alive, but are they truly conscious? And that gives rise to like, you know, animals are conscious and they have feelings. And I truly believe that, you know, especially like, you know, you think about as tasty and delicious as crabs and lobsters are, but they are conscious and they do have nervous systems and they do experience pain, delicious, tasty pain, but pain nonetheless. But like, do they remember things? And if they don't remember things, then they're not conscious in the way that we're conscious. It's like a lower form of consciousness, which doesn't justify what we do to them or anything. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's not the exact same kind of life. It's not the same quality of life that we get to experience, that elephants get to experience, that dolphins experience, that pigs experience.
Dolphins have a better brain than we do.
Yeah.
Something like that. Their brain's bigger, and they're generally like our size or even a little smaller, maybe.
Yeah, they're In India, dolphins are considered to be people. They're people. They have peoplehood. But there's a lot of I read this indigenous book, and it was a really great read that really sort of really has made me reshape my understanding of the world in a variety of ways. And the book talks about how all living things have a sense of peoplehood, and you need to act that way. And plants have a sense of peoplehood. And what I mean by peoplehood is that they have their own sovereignty, they have their own, that you need to respect them, and you need to respect their space and them in that way. And even to the point of ideas of oh, you have this piece of paper that whatever you do with it, you should do with intention, because this tree gave itself to that piece of paper, and therefore that's the basically the indigenous, with the spirit of a lot of indigenous beliefs are. And that peoplehood, that sense of personhood, extends to animals, even the ones that have a lower sense of consciousness. So I don't know how I got on that, but yes, those dolphins in Jaws 3 were the fucking they really saved the day. I'll tell you, Jaws 3, weakest looking Jaws, it's like the 3D cutout Jaws, but man, when he crashes into the glass and eats Louis Gossett Jr., that is fucking terrifying shit right there. And the dude who gets fucking caught in Jaws's mouth, and Jaws is like he basically drowns inside of Jaws's mouth. Might as well have been eaten alive. I mean, that's scary.
I don't even remember Jaws 3.
Oh shit, you got to watch it again.
Yeah, I'm so horrible with that stuff. Other people will be like, remember that movie? And I'm like, nope. But I've seen it, And
Right.
And James is the biggest example. He'll remember 5 million movies, and I'm like, how do you retain that?
James,
I forget a movie
movies.
Yeah, I forget them. I forget them after I see them. I have to rewatch them.
I can appreciate that. I mean, we only have so much room for stuff, and listen. Everybody sort of prioritizes information in different ways. And I'm sure there's plenty of information that you prioritize in your mind that, other people don't, and that you recall with great, gusto.
Can you remember people's names well?
No, I'm pretty bad.
Yes, I'm horrible. And I even in real time, I feel it happening. When I meet a new person and they go to say their name, something happens in my head, and it just almost mutes their voice, or doesn't even mute it. I hear sound, but it's not the name. It's just fake words.
Yeah.
And I don't even get to hear it that first time, even if I try to. It's horrible.
That's why I tell people to text me their name, and when I get their number, I'm yo, text me your name real quick, and then that way I can always remember, because I don't always store numbers so quick, and that way I can always know what the name is to the number.
Yeah, you can go back and look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm really bad at that. And I'm saying, I even I used to just be that way, and then I finally realized I was that way. So then I'm like, all right, I need to do something about this. So when someone's about to say their name, I'm gonna put all my focus there, and then I just hear zzz, zzz, and I'm like, I still didn't get it. It's a big problem.
Hey now, I understand.
So names, do you want to hear another scary story?
Yeah, let's go for it.
When I was young, there was this rumor about a guy that lived in my town, and everyone called him Windex. That was his name, Windex. He was this fake imaginary folklore of the area. And Windex was a man that you could go to his house at any time, morning, noon, night, middle of the night. And it was this man that would just stand in his window and stare at you and wobble back and forth like this. He was always there. But if you went to see Windex, you might get shot by his dad. So when you grew up in my town, there was always, you'd get dared. I dare you to go onto 4th Street, the corner of 4th Street and Iron Street to have a gander at Windex. So everyone was scared to do it, but then you talk to someone, they're like, I saw Windex. He's real, he's there. And then sometimes someone would say, I went and saw Windex and someone chased me away with a gun. So it was a scary place to go when you were 14 or 15. And then one time I finally went to see Windex. And I got there and it was real. I couldn't believe it. I went like super late at night, like 11 o'clock. And it was this old, like, early 1900s house that would have been in like a downtown area. And there was Windex. And he just was there. And then it happened.
Like a window washer blade.
Yes. And then it happened. All of a sudden, a gun was pointed at me and my friends.
Holy fuck. By the way, Cord Chandler says, thank you, Cord. Good to see you, Josh. Miss you, brother.
I miss him too.
Yeah.
It's been too long.
That is fucking so scary. So you had a gun pointed at you that was probably loaded, most likely loaded, and that's really fucking scary.
Yeah. So it turns out all these years later that, sadly enough, Windex was a real person that, no one gave the proper respect to. That was just someone that, a couple that had a child that, had some mental challenges and he enjoyed looking out the window. And of course, all the people that lived in that town, all the young people, at least, it was a novelty to them. And so, of course, now I look back and be like, everyone should have had a lot more courteous attitude towards this guy and his family. But his dad was very protective of him. And when he saw that when the young kids were doing that, he would bring his gun out.
Wow.
So probably not a loaded gun. Probably just a caring dad.
Probably just like, concerned for his son and, probably considering, again, politics of location, that's just sort of how, it kind of goes in like rural areas or more rural areas, right? Like people just have, they got stuff, ready and waiting if need be. And, on some level, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, clearly it was just like, that was his enjoyment in life and his parents didn't want to take that away from him just because the kids were rude. Right.
Right.
But, the parents also protected him. And, obviously it's something I look back at and it's a wild story. Cause again, there was this folklore in the town of this guy,
Right.
And being at that age, you thought it was just like, you're always like, there's no way that that's a real thing, because you just didn't know.
Yeah, it's like an urban legend.
Yes, but one that actually was true. And then there was this added element of it that, you get the gun coming out, but, most people never get a gun pointed at them ever in their entire life, I would think.
Right. No. I think you're absolutely right about that. I think most people do not. I don't want knock on wood. I've not had such an experience. I've had some crazy experiences, but I've never had that happen to me. Knock on wood again.
Yeah. Let's keep it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you have any other scary stories?
I do. I have one that I've told on the channel before. I feel like it's appropriate. And it's funny because I just sort of told a truncated version of it on another clip, but it was appropriate. I could tell it here as well. It really is. It's one of the It was a very crazy experience. It was a crazy experience. It was it's one where like my imagination ran wild with me. And then there was the other experience. You know, I'll tell two very truncated stories quickly. The first one is because we're metaphorically we're getting ready to land this airplane. So the first one is, speaking of airplanes, I was on a plane with my family and we were traveling to Colorado, and we were maybe 15 feet off the ground as we were in our final descent to land. And suddenly the plane started to shake incredibly violently, and something that had never happened before. And I tell the story in painstaking detail somewhere on this channel. It's like a 25-minute version of the story. At some point, and it's with way more detail because I told it right after it happened. It was very fresh in my mind.
Yeah, it's more scary then, for sure. That's like when people tell a story and they're like, they almost got in a car accident, but then the end of the story is, I almost got in a car accident.
Right.
But when that happens to you, it's different.
Yeah, but that's one aspect. The other aspect is that in the moment of what was happening, like basically the long and the short of it is, the plane suddenly pulls back up and we start ascending again, and we get higher and higher and higher into the air, and the captain does not explain what's happening, and the plane, he has no control over the plane. The plane is shaking and spinning or doing, again, I'm trying to remember the exact details here, but the plane was, suffice to say, he did not have the right kind of control over the plane. And so there was a window of about 20 minutes where I thought it was the end of my life. I thought I was going to die. I thought my whole family was going to die. I thought we were going to crash. I was waiting, fully convinced, whether it was going to happen or not. You know what I mean? I was waiting and bracing myself for the plane to explode or break apart or to crash. And I gripped.
So you were 15 feet away from the ground, and then you still flew for over 20 more minutes?
We were 15 feet from landing, and the wind shear was so crazy that the plane started to shake or something, or he lost control, was shaking like crazy. He pulls the plane back up, and we ascend to what, I don't know what, I wasn't counting.
Like a normal flying.
Yeah, like back to like thousands of feet in the air. I mean, we were fucking back up in the air, and we circled around like that. And I was like, are we going to run out of fuel? Like, we didn't know. And he wouldn't tell us what was going on. And that was the most terrifying part, because had he given us an explanation, we would have been okay. It would have been a lot easier to tolerate and everything. Because there was silence, I legitimately was like, oh my God, he is not in control of the plane. Something bad, very bad is about to happen. And I gripped the armrests of my chair because I was like, this is the end of my life. I actually reached a point in my life where I was convinced that I was faced with death. And I had never felt so powerless in my entire life. I was completely at the mercy of like fate or whatever was going to be. And I was literally preparing myself to die.
What was it like on the plane? Like, what was everyone else doing?
People were fucking freaking out, man. I mean, people are praying, people are crying. It was fun.
Did anyone get up, or was it just
no, everybody stayed seated, but it was like, it was a fucking tense atmosphere, tense situation. The plane is shaking. There's quiet from the captain. We don't know what's going on. And like I said, I'm like, literally, I'm sitting there bracing myself for this impact. And the thing about death is, and I had my family with me and stuff, but the thing about death is, like, death is also, as much as it's a communal experience, it's also what I learned in that moment, at least, it's also a very fucking singular experience. Like I was about to go through death, and I was going to go through death alone because, there was nothing. Like I just was like, in that moment, I was a singular entity onto myself, even though I was
And
with
was
my
your whole
family.
family on there?
Yeah, I was with my whole family, but the point was that I was like, and I think we all were like, you are an entity onto yourself, and you're faced with your own mortal demise, and you're just like,
Mhm.
holy shit, this is it. Like we are all about to die. And it was just crazy. And it's not like I wasn't sitting there thinking like, oh my God, this is so unfair or whatever. I was just like, I was literally mentally preparing myself for the end of my life. And then when it didn't happen, I was like, holy shit, like that was crazy. I walked away, and as it turned out, I was never going to die. But what was amazing was I thought I was going to die. And because I thought I was going to die, I was actually dying in that moment. So I
Yeah.
actually experienced what I for a moment, because I really thought I was going to die and I was in a harrowing situation, I got to experience maybe a semblance of what it is to feel like you are about to die without actually dying. And that
Yeah.
was a remarkable experience. And the thing that I even take away from it 4 years later was that I am that we are so powerless over
Yeah.
our own. Like we are here, and I'm grateful to be here every day. I'm here, I'm grateful to be here. But like when your time comes, and it is not in your hands. It is not in your hands. It's in the hands of something that's greater than yourself. And you just got to fucking face it. And that's fucking killer. And
Yes.
then the other thing that happened, um, which is funny, because it's funny that James was on the stream, because James kind of was there in like the periphery of the situation when it was actually happening. And so the other day, and I really talked about this on the other video, so I'm not going to go super in depth. If you want the super in depth version, go find the video of Loki. It's a clip of Loki and I talking. I'm telling Loki the whole story. It's like 25 minutes long, and it's really is like a beat for beat detail. However, it's still, I don't know, it's funny, the more removed I am from it, the more, and the like, maybe it has to do with the fact also that like we just live in a different time. Um, like it was a really it was a really fucked up situation. I was in a really, really fucked up situation. I didn't realize how fucked up it was at the time. It was really fucked up. It was a bad situation. And once again, I was sort of powerless in the sense that I was helpless because I didn't have any way of fucking getting out of there. I was just sort of at the mercy. And basically what happened was, um, in 2015, I went to go see a movie called Green Room. Have you seen Green Room?
No.
Green Room is about a punk band that goes to play a neo-Nazi compound. And things go south from there. They witness a murder, and then basically the neo-Nazis are trying to kill them. That is the hyper melodramatic version of that of that like situation. Um I was in a situation that was significantly less less insane. Yeah. James already knows what I'm going to say. He knows what I'm going to say. I was in a less crazy version of that situation. Basically, so I went to go see this movie Green Room in 2015, and as I'm watching Green Room, and I'm thinking to myself, that could never fucking happen. Like that could never ever ever fucking happen. Like it's insane, And then I thought to myself, huh, no, actually that could happen because I'd been in that fucking situation. And what had happened was I was traveling with a horror punk band down in the thick of Augusta, Georgia, and I found we ended up crashing at this motorcycle club, which I will not name. I think I named it a long time ago. I probably shouldn't have said that name. If I was telling that story today like I am now, I wouldn't have said that name, I don't think. And basically, like little by little, I started to realize that I was actually in a Nazi motorcycle club house, and the place that I was supposed to sleep had a giant Nazi flag and a giant Confederate flag on the ceiling of this clubhouse. And like, as I was walking through the clubhouse, I was trying to convince myself that I was not in a bad place, that I was okay. And I was laughing off everything. And then lo and behold, I see that like right above my head where I'm supposed to sleep is a giant fucking Nazi flag. And, you know, for those of you who don't know on the channel, you know, I'm Jewish. And I'll tell you, in the last 2 years, being Jewish has really sort of changed a lot for me, even more so. And I won't get into politically why that is, but let's just say that being Jewish has taken on new meaning. But being a Jew in this place was crazy. And I'll never forget that there was another guitar player who was sort of supporting the punk band I was with. He wasn't like officially in the band. He was sort of an auxiliary member, and he was the only one who realized the discomfort I was in. Everybody else was oblivious. They did not give a shit. They did not like nobody, you know. And again, like, you know, this is me like sort of being maybe a little self-absorbed or thinking poor me or whatever. But there's another part of me that's kind of like, you know, it's kind of fucked up. Like, I don't know, if I was with you know, if I was traveling in the South with a black friend and we went into a place that was full of fucking like Confederate flags, I would be like, I would turn to my black friend. I'd be like, hey, you want to get the fuck out of here, black friend? I'm sure this doesn't feel good. You know, that consideration was not given to me at all. And like, at the time, I didn't think anything of it, but as the years have gone on and relationships have changed and things have changed, and I started to really think in my head, I said, you know, that was really fucked up. That was a really fucked up thing. This was fucked up. And here's what made it more fucked up, because at the time I didn't realize how fucking stupid what I did next was. Like, I did something really stupid in that situation. I realized that not only am I in this place as a Jew, and that guitar player, he turned to me and he goes, good thing you're Italian, right, Frumess? And, you know, it's sort of been like a funny inside joke, but at the same time, it was just like, Jesus Christ, because of the color of my skin and because, you know, there's nothing, it's not like I have Jew written on my forehead. Like, I guess I'm welcome here. But then I did something like just really fucking stupid. And I don't know where this comes from. You know, you were talking earlier about like or somebody in the comments was talking, maybe it was James, about like the dumb shit that you do when you're young. I did something really fucking stupid, but also maybe it was like out of a sense of, I don't know. It was kind of like, you know, it's kind of like in the way that you go to see what you call them, Windex. You go to see Windex, right? Like, even though under the threat of having a gun in your face, you still went to go see him because you just, you know, you want to stare into the face of danger. So here I am in this literal fucking like boiling pot of water as a Jew. And it's a secret. It's a secret, right? Like, nobody knows I'm a Jew except for the people I'm with, who, again, very indifferent, like beyond. We're on a compound in the middle of the woods. We had to drive deep in the fucking woods to get to this compound. If you wanted to throw a body down a well, you could throw a body down a well. You would never find it. That's the kind of place that we were in. But at the time, I still, for whatever reason, there was this part of me that was like, you're the only Jew that's ever been in this place. You might be the only Jew who ever is going to be in this place. And as everybody was signing their name, I felt like this urge, this like, it came out of nowhere. I was like, I behind a lampshade, not a lampshade, curtains. It was like curtains, right? Everybody was writing their names on the wall. Like, you know, it's a type of place where you sign your name if you're there. I was like, I think I've got to be the only Jew who's ever been here. I'm gonna draw a Star of fucking David right on the fucking wall behind this curtain. And that's exactly what I did. I took a Sharpie and I drew a Star of David. And I didn't tell any of the other guys at the time. And I did that out of the lack of consideration that I received. I did that out of consideration of them. I didn't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable. I didn't want anybody to think I was, I don't know. I just like, I was like, I'm going to just do this. This is just for me.
You did it for yourself. Yeah.
I just did it for myself. I just did it for myself. And then right after I did that, I ran out of there like a bat out of fucking hell. And I knocked on the fucking RV door where one member was busy. And I was like, hey, I'm not sleeping in there. There's Nazi flags on the ceiling. I just won't sleep under the Nazi flag as a Jew or otherwise. Just not going to happen.
Yeah, anyone.
Right.
Yeah.
And I knew, and it's funny too, that guy, he was so pissed. He did not want, he was like, you are just cramping my style right now, dude. Like, what the fuck? And I just didn't care. I was like, fuck. Like, don't you like, this fucking sucks. This fucking sucks that we're here. And so, we get out of there, and again, I told you about the video journals. There's a video journal. I have a video journal of me, and like, it's funny. I like reflected back. I like watched that video journal, and I can see how deeply uncomfortable I am. Like, I'm trying to have a good time. I'm trying to like be okay, and I'm like, oh, look where I am right now, But like deep down, I am like, you could see it. It's like unconsciously there. And so we get out of there and like fucking.
That's just how you were dealing with the situation.
I think
that probably wasn't real. Yeah.
I think so. I think that it's like, for instance, like if I had reviewed that video journal, like even like 3 months down the line, I wouldn't have thought anything of it. And I'll tell you something. I got to be honest with you. If I'm being honest, the reason why I drew the Star of David was because it was like, this is a great story. Here I am in the belly of the beast. And I feel this urge to do this thing. And I'm walking away with this great story that I could tell. And I used to entertain people with that story. And I thought it was a great fucking story. And then I saw that movie Green Room. And when I saw that movie Green Room, and I saw these fictional kids from this fictional punk band getting slaughtered by neo-Nazis. And I was like, this isn't fucking funny. Like, this was not funny. What I did was really stupid. Being in that place was really stupid. It was really stupid that the people I was with didn't give a shit. And it was really fucking stupid that I fucking drew that Star of David. Because I could have, who knows what kind of unhinged, like, I don't know. He was a very nice guy, by the way, like very nice. But I also don't know that he didn't know I was a Jew, so I don't know. Who knows what would have happened? Maybe he would have punched me in the face. Maybe he would have broken my jaw. Maybe he would have broken my arm. Maybe he would have kicked my ass. Maybe nothing would have happened. Maybe he wouldn't have done anything. Maybe he would have laughed at it. Like, there's so many, like, I couldn't tell you, but I only realized after the fact how fucking that it was a serious situation. And the reality was that because, Jews, we can hide behind the color of our skin. Some of us, the Ashkenazi ones, the white passing Jews, we can hide behind the color of our skin. I was able to get through that situation because I could hide the fact that I was Jewish. And like, you got black people who have dark skin. They can't fucking hide who they are. And if they're in a bad fucking place, then like they might draw fucking, it's crazy. It's fucking crazy. 3 days later, we're on the road, and fucking that guitar player who knew the situation, was probably the most sympathetic, was like, he's like, dude, why did you do that? Why did you draw that Star of David? I was like, you saw? And
I like that you did it. Obviously if something bad would happen to you, I would think different. But outside of that, like, just even for your own reasonings, like, it must feel good that that you did that now. Have you heard of?
I feel good about. Yes, I do feel good about that. I did it, but at the same time, it was fucking stupid. I just want to acknowledge that I know it was stupid, but that I also had to kind of do it. And and their reaction, by the way, when they heard that I did, they were like, "What?" They were like, "You did what?" It wasn't like again, I would kind of think like, like, hey, like kind of like we all know that you were Jewish. That must have been really crazy to be around that Nazi flag. I don't know. That was just fucking weird, man.
Did you ever hear of
a
the
scary
musician Daryl Davis?
It sounds very familiar.
He's just a musician. He tours around and plays music, but he's an African American guy that
Oh
like
yeah.
he
He
converts
hangs out with
he
the Ku Klux
converts
Klan.
KKK
Yeah.
members.
Mhm.
His story's amazing. It's really cool to see the stuff he does.
He collects the uniforms. He has like 200
Yes.
uniforms.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
cool to hear
Yeah.
that like that can happen, and my point, you doing that, like you don't know if you had no, I'm serious. You don't know if you had a long lasting effect on someone, someone that met you that night that maybe found out that you're the one that put that there, and for them to be like, oh no, that guy was cool. Like,
Well, I mean,
maybe I have this wrong.
It was just the band. So the people that were there that night, it was the band. It was two groupie chicks. I don't know. They're nice girls, but there were two groupie chicks, the band, myself, and the merch guy. And then the biker who was hosting us, who was also the sound man of the venue, which is how we got over there in the first place. So there was
maybe that guy though, like if he was around you and was like,
he was a nice guy. He was very polite. He was a very polite guy. I mean, but fucking racists can be polite too.
Sure. But I'm saying maybe he recognized you as a nice guy though too.
Yeah,
maybe you had an impact on his perspective on the world.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
so maybe if that's true, maybe what you did was worth it for more than even just your personal being worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But either which way, it was a profound experience that for me has morphed from being like kind of like a jackass story to being like a true horror story for me, because especially in the last few years, I just was like, just thinking like, fuck, like you don't realize that, you don't realize the kind of fucking fire that you were just very naive. I was very naive, and I just didn't know, I did not know
the risk you were taking.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
I still like to tell that story, but I now tell it through a different lens. It's not just all like, brash bravado. It's also kind of like, hey, I did a really stupid thing. This was really crazy. What, you sometimes you find yourself in crazy situations, whether it's in a fucking Nazi compound or at the end of a gun for going to visit a guy. Like shit happens, or swimming with sharks.
Yeah,
fucking
places we end up.
The places
but it makes it all worth it, right?
It does. It does.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Well, I'll tell you, you always come up with good, you really do. You always have very good ideas for shows. Like they always just end up, I don't know, like really cooking. This cooked well. I
had fun.
Came out.
I like hearing people's stories.
Yes. Hopefully we can in the future. It's really this is my fault because I didn't get this link up soon enough. Maybe more people we would add some more call-ins. Although in the past, not typically people don't call into this show. I always try to get people to call in. I always want call-ins to happen. It doesn't typically happen always. So I don't know.
Well, hey, we'll figure out another way to tell some stories,
Yes. Well, hopefully we'll be back very soon with a third friend who we just need to get them all lined up and good to go. And then we'll have we'll leave that to be a surprise, but I'll say that it'll be a very pleasant surprise, really good music themed show that we got going on, hopefully.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But listen, well, hey, happy Halloween to you and your family.
Hey, happy Halloween to you as well. I want to thank you so much for coming on here, and thank everybody in the chat for participating. Good to chat with James and Cord, and we had Aaron earlier, and Henry and some other people, and we'll see you next time.
All right.
Peace. Hair grease. Hold on one sec.